Well, good afternoon. It is Thursday, the 3rd of September, 2020. Tom's back for this 1 hour session to draw a little bit for your entertainment. I hope all of you are doing well out there today. There are some things I wanted to demonstrate, and I'll probably share a little bit about how I'm doing lately and things I'm thinking about lately in this hellscape that is 2020. What do we have here? This is an illustration I'm working on for my friend Sean Carpenter, and we're going to do just a little description of what's going on here, and then maybe beginning a drawing for a companion piece that goes along with this. This will be a cover for a tabletop gaming book, Near Future Conflict. We have soldiers, elite soldiers with some power armor type apparatus. I love science fiction and I love mechanics, knowing how machines work, engineering, all that kind of stuff. I was bad in school. I couldn't really do the math on how all these systems work together in physics and chemistry and whatnot. But I love the idea, the theory. I love visualizing how things are constructed and then how they can be deconstructed. So I love taking things apart and putting them back together. My hands were all in some plugs and outlets and jacks when I was growing up working with TV, audio, video stuff. So how military stuff, vehicles, weapons, equipment, gear, all that comes on, it comes off, how the equipment comes apart, all that stuff is really interesting to me. So maybe I'll do a drawing based on that. So I've titled this one Drawing the Action Figure or the Figure in Action. It's going to be a little bit of Stanley meets my own method and style. Jack Kirby's book, which is How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, all that stuff. So if you're in the chat, if you're checking out the live thing, please, please, please say hello. Let me know that you're there and who is there. I'll be typing occasionally too. So let's get started with a new drawing. So like I said, this is going to be a cover illustration for a book, and this project involves a couple interior illustrations that are going to be line work. So let me get the drawing started. Like a tan, gray background, it's easier on the eyes. It's not as high contrast for you guys watching at home. Let me know if I sound good, all that kind of stuff. I got multiple Facebook windows. I got Open Broadcast Studio. Hopefully you guys are having a good day. And if you're not watching this live, if you're watching this later on YouTube, thank you for finding the video and clicking it. Let's minimize the Tomorrow War piece. Cool. Let's close that and let's start drawing. So I said I liked figures that are doing something, that are in action. So when we're brainstorming a figure, we typically have the standing pose, which is just easiest to visualize. Think Vitruvian Man. There's the T pose in video games where characters are often concepted or modeled in some kind of standing deal. So we're just using stick figures to set up a character. And you see I'm starting to draw with a loose skeletal structure and mass conceptions for the torso, rib cage, pelvis area, and then forearms, hands, kinds of stuff. But this isn't very exciting, is it? This is kind of boring, just having a character that's straight up and down. So, what are some things that Jack Kirby talked about in Drawing Comics the Marvel Way? What's up, Drew? Thanks for hanging out today. I was hoping you'd find this and hop on. Glad that you are here with me today. So Jack Kirby talks about this kind of range of poses that's like boring to exciting. And so boring would be pretty much like straight up and down, like this character is here, and then there's like little bits of movement and compression that are going left to right that are more interesting until you get to like maximum compression, maximum action. that's got like the most interesting kind of pose. So when you're drawing comic books, you got to be super exaggerated to be interesting. You got to go above and beyond. I was talking to a fellow art director yesterday. He'll remain nameless. He has a contractor artist who is a wonderful renderer, probably one of the best portraiture artists I've ever seen. But in his one piece, there was a couple little commando characters. There's a couple little military guys, and those drawings were really boring. And I was like, why is the best artist, the best portrait artist I've ever seen, drawing really boring soldiers? And the art director shared with me that it started with a photo manipulation, a composite of a lot of images from news media, from magazines, from Wikipedia, and that was going to be the base on which the painter would work over everything. And when the concept artist literally traced over and painted over the pictures of some soldiers walking through a desert, that energy didn't translate at all. And I knew this from working in games, especially little games. So if you're playing Civilization and your little warrior guy is like a chess piece on top of this board, to make them exciting, their motions have to be really exaggerated and really big for you to see it. It's why like football works so well. Football on television works well because these are super athletes that are tremendously big, that are exaggerated and larger than life, physically larger than life. But it reads well enough on television. If you've ever watched like a Pee Wee football game or a high school football game on TV, it looks terrible. It looks kind of corny. Uh, but the NFL looks amazing. It looks absolutely amazing. It's funny how I think it's funny how hockey's kind of the same way. Like hockey in life is incredible, but on television it's not as impressive because you're not really getting the speed because the camera can track everything fluidly. Your actual head isn't moving, so you're not actually appreciating the speed. Same thing with NASCAR. It's a very different experience to see something live that's moving in front of you versus on television where the camera is fixing your look on the thing. The movement's what's really impressive. So for stuff to read really well and to be exciting on television, it has to be so far above and beyond. Same thing with images. So we're going to try to come up with a pose that's a little bit more interesting than just generic standard. Let's get into it. So I want another layer, and let's do something. The character is doing something banal, normal, boring, but we'll try to make it more exciting through use of pose. So the action figures. I'm thinking one of these characters is going to actually be servicing his equipment. So there's going to be a seated character, and let's do a couple quick sketches to come up with an interesting pose. We have this cube might represent the pelvis, and then this is the line here is the back, and we're going to have this in a little bit of perspective. This conical tubular round shape represents the rib cage, collarbones, and head. So maybe the character is looking at something. This is a pose I tend to fall back on a lot, which is the thinker pose of the character sitting. Let's to make it the boring way would have just both legs straight down. We can make it more interesting, but maybe crooking one leg back and tilting it a little bit, and then another one maybe out a little bit more. This feels a little more Dutch. This feels like one of the Rubens or not Rubens, who am I thinking of? There's a bunch of crazy Dutch painters from the Renaissance, and when they're sitting and they're playing guitar kind of stuff, they're like kind of actively posed. So this is some kind of active seated position, but maybe we'll fix this action pose in place by adding like debris or something on the ground. Somehow this makes sense. You have to make the pose make sense on the various equipment and gear that's I don't know, maybe there's like a tripod that he's like kicking his feet around. There's some kind of piece of equipment here. Maybe it's like a satellite dish kind of thing. Let's move this and reskin. This might be interesting. I'm thinking about Luke Skywalker on Dagobah, and he's got his like equipment out. There's going to be some kind of folding apparatus, and it comes down to a battery pack kind of deal. Power generator station, little fuel cell, portable fuel cell kind of deal, kind of dealio. Yeah, so how is this going to make sense? Maybe his character is kind of leaning forward, getting ready to hit some kind of control on the communication station. Let's see. So we're trying to tap into satellite communications. Maybe, what's the other hand doing? Make this dynamic. What if, oops, I hit the rotate button. What if it's going to be boring? I want to do something interesting with the other arm. So maybe if the arm that's closest to us is reaching out to hit the screen, maybe this is going to be interesting. See how I'm thinking through the process? I'm doodling loose. I have my transparency set to 60%. Drew said, I'll never just stand there again in the picture. That's right, Drew. There is an improv game we used to play in theater called Standing, Sitting, Laying Down. And it was 3 people on stage, and everyone had to see what pose everyone else was in. And if somebody moved, the other 2 people had to move to their own different position. So you had like 5 seconds to change whatever pose you're in. So there'd be usually a park bench as the only prop on the stage. I think Whose Line Is It Anyway? Did a bunch of improv drills like that too that were pretty fun. So this is just interesting. I notice when I'm having a difficult or awkward conversation with somebody, my body goes into craziest contusions because I'm conscious about what my upper body's doing. I can force myself to be relaxed if I'm talking to somebody who I disagree with. I can force my upper body, but my legs will tie themselves into knots. Like my ankles and feet will all be twisted on each other, grabbing onto the chair. Drew says, Steph says hi. Hi, Steph. Give you a nice long wave. Thanks for hanging out. Okay, so we're getting some twist here. They're going to make this dynamic. This is cool. So the pelvis is going this direction. Torso is going that direction. And maybe there's something else that this person's kind of grabbing for at the same time. Maybe we have another character. We have something over here. Maybe it's just an antenna. Maybe it's like some kind of antenna device thing. That might be kind of cool. That might be good enough. Dude's trying to get a signal. 2 different kinds of signals. That could be cool. It's interesting. You know, you're trying to hold the antenna out, trying to get a signal. If you're trying to watch the Ravens game, how many times have you used some old cable wire and you're trying to like string it up and get that TV connection? I think the millennials don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, millennials do. I mean, Zoomers. The Zoomers have no idea. What do you mean antenna? What are you talking about? Drew, you could just be, you're so interesting and handsome. You could stand in whatever pose you want, and people will still love you. That's okay. I'm also learning about lately how important it is to be an audience member. You don't have to actively participate. It's good just to be around. It's important for other people to have listeners sometime. Maybe it's important to listen every once in a while. Okay, so hopefully this is showing how I'm thinking about constructing the pose, having different angles. Let's try this. I kind of like this idea. We had a loose idea of what we wanted to do, an interesting seating pose, and then the pose inspired what was actually happening in the environment. Yeah, so we have the character loosely like that. Interesting. And then we start with a skeletal structure, and then we mass out the feet, the muscles, the bones, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of interesting. Let's do another drawing just to keep warming up, because this is kind of fun right now. We have a loose idea of what's going on here. This guy, what does he feel like? He feels a little frantic, feels a little nervous. Maybe there's something more exciting can be done with this arm. Maybe it needs to move out a little bit. Maybe it needs to move out and be a little bit smaller, be a little foreshortening. So maybe it's out here, That's the beautiful thing about digital is you can use this transform tool to select and move stuff and scale stuff and rotate it, and you can almost turn your drawing into a collage where you're cutting like cutting out pieces of a magazine and placing it around places. Some kind of backpack thing. Maybe he's not wearing his backpack. Maybe his backpack's got all this gear in it. So the backpack is off. Yeah, that would make more sense. He's got a lightweight backpack or something. So that's kind of interesting. This feels fun. It feels kind of like a Dutch Bruegel, Brenner the Elder, something like that. Pieter Bruegel. I don't remember what the painter's name is. He painted peasants. If one of my artist friends with their art history is on point, John's in. There was the elder and the younger. They were like a family of painters, and they painted peasant scenes in the Netherlands. And they had some really fun leg stuff. Let me see if I can actually. Let's use Google. Painter Netherlands the Younger, and the Younger should give me William van de Velde the Younger. I don't think that's what I'm thinking of, but I like it. Oh yeah, Pieter Bruegel. Bruegel. Yeah, this is what I'm thinking of. This is exactly what I'm thinking of. So the OG action pose guy, Pieter Bruegel. Look at these crazy leg poses. Look at this horrific face. Oh my goodness, they really let you zoom in on this. Let's take a look here. Oh my goodness. Definitely inebriated. Most likely inebriated. Turning red, I can see it because this is ridiculous. So maybe not the best facial painter ever. Ooh, that mouth is rough. Both of these mouths are rough. But the legs are what's up. Look how great these legs are. Got that calf muscle developed. Look at the feet, the shoes. The cards are on the ground. This is so much fun. Got the cod piece there. Got some real good haptic line drawings. This dude's got like some kind of spiked nunchuck he's hitting him with. Look at this. What is this weapon? Drew, what is this weapon? It's a nunchuck in the Netherlands. I didn't know the Neanderthals, the Dutch, had 8-foot nunchucks. It's probably some tool used to whip grain and wheat or something. Look at this guy. He's got the high socks. His head is in a different orbit. This head looks like it came off of Humpty Dumpty, fell off a wall, and they put this man back together, and he's all twisted about. But this is great. The proportions here, he looks like he could play Mac linebacker for the Ravens. This torso feels like it just came off of J.J. Watt of the Texans. I love J.J. Watt. I want J.J. Watt to transition into a movie star and play along Chris Hemsworth. We love J.J. Watt in this household. Me and my 5 imaginary friends I live with. Pizza Bruegel's younger. There we go. What's up, Nate Bjork? Nate, good to see you, man. Bruegel? How do you say it? Bruegel? Bruegel? In Bruges? I'm crying. That face is just too much. Coffee today is from Panera Bread. I used to love the Panera Bread hazelnut, and this tastes just like nothing. Just a hint of hazelnut. Maybe I was more sensitive when I was younger. Maybe they're making cheaper coffee, or they're just leaving the same coffee out for like 2 days because no one's coming in. Let's go. Let's go. Drew says, if you don't know, I don't know. Drew says, crazy bastards. Yeah, the Dutch were into it. They were into it. They were into poppy back then. They were into tulips. Tulips were a currency. I mean, come on. What country makes flowers a currency? This poor bench just upended. I think your brother made this bench. I think Dustin went back in time and made this live edge bench right here. That's what I want. I'm going to request a bench in the style of a Bruegel painting by Art of Craftsmanship. That's what I want. I want you to relay that message for me. Drew says, why don't you just brew your own coffee, or do you just get some others sometimes? The problem with me brewing my own coffee is when I wake up, I don't have enough energy to brew coffee. That's the problem. Then, Tom, what are you talking about, Tom? You're going to get in a car and drive somewhere to get coffee? Yeah, I can automatically drive a car. 250,000 miles driven in my car and 170,000 driven in the car before that. I can subconsciously operate a motor vehicle. What does that say about me? Well, whatever it says about me, it says the same about another 30 million Americans who do the exact same thing. Someone's calling me right now. I got to end the stream because this is my sister and this is very important. But we're going to pick it back up and in a little bit. Cool. Okay, sorry for the phone call interruption. My sister called. I had to take that phone call. Here's going to be part two of the conversation we were having earlier. I have to thank everyone who tuned in before. Sorry, this format's all broken up. Hopefully on YouTube, I'll edit these two clips together, and this should be seamless. Please forgive me. It's getting a little cloudier outside right now, so it's a little darker, but this is still good to go. What's great for me is I have a little natural light for illumination of my shiny face, and am not being overblown by too much brightness by the monitor. Hand gestures. Fun. Okay, back to drawing. This was going to be our first sketch for coming up with a figure. So what did we do? We defined an interesting figure that was seated, and then we established an environment around it that wrapped with the theme that we were going to be working on. So we wanted to do another drawing. What's another pose that could be interesting? In the first part of the stream, we were talking with Drew about being boring, and that was funny. But we're going to try to make something interesting. So what if we had a basic boring pose? Maybe there's a character who's standing, but I'm imagining his hands are on his knees. So we have the long line of the torso. Let's bend this forward. The balance point is usually over the ears, is a trick. If you can draw a line for someone ears straight down, you have the balance point, typically. So think about where your anatomy is going to be to make that balanced. So one foot maybe slightly in front of the other. The knees are going to come out to the toes of the foot. If you imagine the line down, the butt comes back just a little bit. And then how would the arms link up over the knees? It would be great to have a little bit of reference, but I want to show that you can come up with this pose just by working it out for yourself. Probably head would come a little bit more forward. So we're drawing lightly. I have the opacity set to 60% right now. So if I really wanted to draw, I can hit the point a couple times and make a clean decision. So is this interesting? Let's see. We want to hang his head maybe a little bit more forward. Is that more interesting? More engaged, more angle to it? What if we do more of that kind of angle? Is that interesting? Let's try this. Let's try this kind of thing. What are we doing here? Hands on knees. Maybe instead of the same thing, maybe it's slightly different. Maybe let's get some English here. Let's take one hand off the knee. One that's like maybe going to the knee. Maybe this is in process. Maybe he's in process of putting his hands on his knees. Imagining what the hand is doing. Fingers a little outstretched before it goes on the knee. So in the process of bending over to look at something. We use a little bit of crosshair just to establish where the nose would be and where the eyes would be. It's a pretty good way to make a decision and leave yourself information for later. What we want to do in sketches is we want to make decisions. We want to make a lot of decisions with the least amount of effort and time as possible, right? We want to be efficient. You do a contrapposto. You do just a little bit of contrapposto in the position. So we have the one extended arm is poking that one shoulder up, and then the compressed arm is a little bit more tighter. So we have one knee that's a little bit more dropped than the other one. Is this interesting? Does that head feel a little too big? This feels like a really old man right now. Old character. If you pop in the stream, if you're live, please say hi. Let me know that you're out there. Just want to lurk, that's fine too, but it makes me feel better if I know who's watching. Have a little conversation. So ultimately, these sketches will be used for a book about some future conflict for a board gaming guide. So how do this feels very old man. What can I do to make this feel like a younger, stronger guy? I like the idea of the hunched over pose. What can we do to make this a little bit stronger? Well, I know in football, your linebackers have a different chest pose. Their chest's up and their butt's a little bit more back. Their head's going to be up. I'm drawing fast because I want to see if my decisions make sense. Does this make sense? This feels just very strange. This feels kind of bizarre. What's the character doing that's in his position? Linebackers with their chest back up, they're getting ready to hit somebody. That's maybe not what this guy's really doing. So this feels weird. Gonna ditch that. This is more of a curiosity pose. This character on the left looks like he's looking at something with intent curiosity on the ground. Would it be interesting if there was somebody down here in Indian style doing something? Maybe a little, what am I thinking of? 20th century illustrator, Norman Rockwell. Thinking kind of Norman Rockwell-ish. Maybe that radio transmission thing's a good idea. Let's go radio transmission. Guy's got some kind of rifle slung on his shoulder. He's got all kinds of gear. Sitting down here. This is fun. Give a little perspective. Legs out. Other legs under it. How do we feel about that? That's not bad. It's kind of interesting. Hands, fingers, something like this. This guy's got a whole bunch of gear. What if we can euthanize, make this younger? I said euthanize. Euthanize is killing somebody, isn't it? Hello, Joe. Contrapasto makes me want pesto. Ooh, that's what she said. Want that pesto. So let's make this character a little bit younger. God, pesto sounds delicious right now. I have a salad in my fridge right now. I am thinking about it a little bit. Went to Panera Bread for coffee, salad, bagel. I actually left my croissant there. Only $1. Someone eats my croissant. Chocolate croissant. Look beautiful. Probably shouldn't have it anyway. What kind of gear does this character have? Gotta have a weapon somewhere. Maybe just maybe just a pistol's on his chest rig. Yeah, he probably would have a handgun mounted outside of his exoskeleton. So some kind of MP5 kind of system. Maybe there. Equipment. Belt system. Exosystem. Let's build up that silhouette just a little bit. So what is this referencing? This is referencing the other scene we worked on a little bit before. This is a battle, 2040, maybe in Ukraine somewhere. This is the illustration I've been working on contextually for this. So it's going to be these characters in some line drawing scenes. Let's move that over there. Close it. It's fine. Some piles of equipment, maybe behind them, maybe boxes of ammo, food. I don't know. I like the idea of this like an antenna thing, like a radio with satellite communications. Something kind of cool, maybe kind of sci-fi-ish. That's fun. Let's have the helmets off these guys for a bit. We'll just put like a helmet on the ground here next to the guy. It's getting the breather in. This is gonna be profile view of the young guy, maybe this guy on the ground. His hair is all jacked up because he's been under a helmet all day. See how that feels. That's pretty good. Let's flip it and see if it's still interesting. Needs a little bit more space. Let's increase the image or canvas size. Let's go maybe 9 by 9. How's that feel? Very good. Fill that background color. So let's compare it against our first work. So this is our second composition. What's the first feel like? First feels a little scatterbrained. It's still interesting, but I don't think it's as compelling. So this is one person having a technology issue. Now we have two that are sharing a problem. That feels very human. You have communication. It's a nice idea. Can I do something even better with the third one? Let's try brainstorming another scene. Let's finish this kind of off. Maybe it'll be fun to come up with another idea. So we have some gear. Let's maybe we got a rifle kind of leaning up against this box, and this box has some grabby bits. And it's maybe the stand tripod is mounted or on top of this big box. And then this is grenades, something like that. Weapon. It's pretty cool. Do I want to have this guy's helmet on? Yeah, he's probably still got his. This guy's gonna have a helmet on. Maybe his like goggles are down, and his like gas mask thing's off. Something like his goggles are up, so we're seeing his face. That'd be cool. Make a little bit more human. A little more humanity in this. All right, cool. That's pretty good. We'll work on this again later. Feeling pretty good about this. Let's do one more. Let's do some kind of action pose. So for another drawing, let's say inside the book we want to have a couple characters, maybe shooting. What's a good shooting pose? Maybe off kneeling. Kneeling's pretty good. And then we could showcase this exoskeleton thing. So pelvis, just render torso, brainstorm, rifle kind of coming at the viewer off to the left a little bit. Shoulder, shoulder. It's boom, boom. Holding there. Right shoulder, arm up, head, scope, thing. A little bit of a tilt. How does this feel? Too long in the torso already? Maybe. Maybe we can do super action shot. So a lot of foreshortening, like we get really up on the boot. drawing the goal shape. What is it called? Like a croquet gate is a good way to start with an ankle and build a foot off of it. Back leg boot is going to be a lot smaller because foreshortening there. Big calf, square front of the knee. This feels very much exaggerated, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to be a little exaggerated. This might be too much exaggerated though. Got a big old backpack, lots of gear on it. Face mask, glasses. It's kind of fun. Let's move it over just here, just a little bit. Maybe this line. What's something cool about Photoshop is you can click, click, get straight lines. Click, click, straight lines. Let's go up a little bit higher up there. Maybe it's like some kind of sniper rifle. That'd be fun. Some kind of bullpup, semi-automatic DMR type thing. There's some like uber connected, hyper optic, you know, thermal, infrared, UV, X-ray craziness. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. So the idea of an exoskeleton on the future soldier would allow them to carry and stabilize more weight, like a Steadicam. So you could have an armature built into the holder, and it can hold all like an extra heavy kind of weapon system. So you could be in a locked, stabilized position, even standing or kneeling or sitting or something. So instead of having to go all the way prone with your sniper rifle, even though you could do that, this system would be better for, or it would be better at taking a precise shot with kneeling, etc., etc., etc. Probably standing would probably be even better than kneeling because you have both feet on the ground. But I'm imagining that this has some kind of support system for being in the kneel also. It's pretty fun. It might be a little unbalanced. Let's flip it to see how that feels. Let's flip it horizontally again. It's not terrible. Let's rotate a little bit. Is that cool? Maybe doing something. Give it a little bit more English. Dutch, something like that. I actually want to kick this leg out just a little bit more. Let's copy this and make a version 2. V1 sniper. Let's call this one V2 sniper. Whoever's watching, come in, say hi, say what up. My man Brandon liked the video. Thanks, Brandon. Ryan Griffin liked the video. Thanks a lot. Give you guys shout outs. Okay, let's hide the first one, V2. I want to kick this leg. I'm excited about this leg, but I actually want to kick it out a little bit more. Let's see. Let's take that foot. Let's move it forward just a little bit more. Let's see what this looks like. If we can get one leg there, one leg is in the front. Use the eraser just to clean it up, just to clarify what we're doing. Okay, got the hip joint for the exoskeleton. We got the knee joint for the exoskeleton. It's going to have some kind of padding on it. That's dope. Armored shin thing. This is cool. How does this feel? Does this feel good? Foreleg like that, back leg back there. Would it feel better if it was extended more? would it be better if he was sitting back on his foot? So this is V2. Let's try V3. Let's do one more. Do version 3. This is the beauty of Photoshop, ladies and gentlemen, is you can copy to a new layer. You guys probably aren't seeing what I'm doing because my face is in the way. But in my layers, I got all these different versions. So V1, V2, V3. And it's easy just to copy the layer by dragging it into new layer area, and suddenly you have a new layer and you can hide whatever's underneath of that. And you also just drag it down into the trash can to get rid of it if you want. So let's try V3. As a pose, I like seeing where the person is sitting on their back foot. I've seen that be pretty stable. So what happens if we bring this, like, we redraw the bottom. It'd be easier just to redraw it. So what if the front foot is kind of coming up and forward, lot of foreshortening here, and the back foot is folded underneath. So the knee isn't going to be as obvious. We just put a little knee pad there. I've done a pretty good amount of life drawing, so this might have been something I've seen in a life drawing class where someone's sitting with their leg out. I feel like this would all be pivoted away, so let's change the point of view just a little bit. So if the leg's foreshortened, we're going to have the arms going to be probably pretty foreshortened as well. And think about thumb's going to be outside. Yeah. Thumb's going to be out there. Rest of the hand's going to be underneath. How do we feel about that? I'm thinking about the pose. So my leg, support hand leg is out. That's underneath. Yeah, I guess that's okay. It's not awesome, but that'd be good enough for the drawing. You're going to see the other elbow, trigger hand. Actually, the trigger hand is going to be occluded by forearm. Just flip it back. I like it this way a little bit better, actually. I guess because that's also righty. I've seen this pose more often because there are more right-handed shooters than left-handed shooters. You work on the details of the gun later. We just want to make sure this prop is lined correctly. I'm thinking it's like a Desert Tech bullpup. Some bullpup meaning that the ammunition feeding device is behind the trigger, keeping the overall length a lot shorter. I just watched a video on InRange TV talking about the Desert Tech SRS bullpup in 6.5 Creedmoor. That's kind of a neat sci-fi future-looking gun. Let's give them a little shout out. InRange TV. So that's what that looks like. Desert Tech MDR. Yeah, bullpup. Ammunition goes in back here. Bullet comes out the front. Trigger mechanism in the middle. Scope, bipod, all that kind of stuff. So that's in my brain pan right now. Desert Tech There's what's nice about in-range is you get lots of good points of view of people running this equipment and getting into different poses with it. So a lot of these GunTuber YouTube channels are actually really good if you want to be drawing action figures or G.I. Joes. There's a lot of great reference. Grand Thumb does a really fun shooting montage at the beginning of all his videos. A lot of slow motion, really good cinematic work, and then some awesome action shooting gun stuff with all the recoil. Yeah, Grand Thumb's a lot of fun. All the gear, great reference for drawing. Boom. He's got epic music playing too. It's pretty fun. Pretty fun. Any questions or comments? Joe says sitting on his foot would be cool. Thanks, Joe. I agree. So let's review the three of them. We got door number 1, door number 2, stronger, better. Door number 3, most interesting. I think that's the most interesting one. This one's pretty strong, though. It's kind of tight. That's strong. I like that foot knee thing going on down here. This is interesting. It's a little more elegant. Maybe if I just built up, what if I just built up the armor to look like the other one? So we have more mechanisms and body armor and stuff. I know Joe knows a thing or two about armor. Got some familial connections to crafting suits of armor. Pretty dope. I want to miss the Renaissance Festival this year, ladies and gentlemen. I like those cocktails that they make at the Ren Fest. Get your snake bite, get your serendipity drink. It's a mix of mead, wine, and beer. Cider, something like that. It's fun. Have too many of those to get a terrible headache, especially when it's hot. Mid-Atlantic region, Renaissance Festival. It's hot until October. October's beautiful. What a shame, though. I hope Renaissance Festival will survive COVID and come back in 2021 and be packed. Everyone's got that vaccine or healthy immunity or something. I don't know. All right, so does this feel good with him sitting on his foot? This would be shadow area there. Really highlight this. You have to come up with the mechanics of an exoskeleton-like system. Science fiction, ladies and gentlemen. But it might be science fact in a couple of years. DARPA, MIT, a lot of agencies and companies working with exoskeleton technology. That movie Aliens, the exosuit, what do you call those things? Power loader, maneuverability. You can't have a wheeled vehicle in an area. It's complex. You got to have some kind of walking tank kind of thing. That's fun. Got 27 minutes. Let's see if we can go for another 15 minutes on this. This is feeling pretty cool. Is this fun? Would it be fun to refine this drawing, or would it be fun to come up with another pose? What do you think? Talking to my buddy Blake a little while ago, got me fired up to do some work. I was in a bit of a bad spot the last couple days. I mean, look, COVID, everyone's excluding, social distancing, and so we're getting lonely. So it's nice to reach out. Reach out to someone you haven't talked to in a while, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to do something good for the day. I don't know. Whoever you talk to in a minute, give them a holler. Be like, hey, just thinking about you, brother man. So that was cool. It's cool for Blake to reach out and say, what up, dude? How you doing? I got an idea. What do you think of this idea? And that's cool. It's cool. It's fun. What am I thinking about today? Well, the stock market's been really interesting. I had a good conversation with my buddy Steve talking about utilities and how luxuries of the past have just become utilities today. Like 150 years ago, if you had electricity, you were rich as heck. You were rich or powerful, and if you had a phone, Get out of here. Phones didn't even exist yet. If you can talk over a wire to people, that's amazing in 1905. I don't even think they had that yet. You had telegraphs. You're like, this is the news of the day. New York City, 72 degrees, rain, coat, pandemic, flu, Spanish flu. All my friends are buried in shallow graves. That's 1905, ladies and gentlemen. Something like that. Today, everyone's got cell phones. The smartphone is like a utility now. Like 20 years ago, this was luxury. This was extreme luxury to have the internet, email in your pocket. Who had that? Who had Blackberries 20 years ago? Like senators, generals, the powerful, or the rich. Or if you were like Bill Gates, maybe you had a Blackberry or a Microsoft prototype, whatever. Or you Steve Wozniak, and you got 10 Apple prototype phones in your car, just testing to see if GPS works at all. So you're a rich, powerful, or some kind of entrepreneur with capital access or something. And then within a generation, it becomes standard, and everybody's got it. It's weird, right? So how does that manifest in the market? Well, in the market, you have incredible volatility over any new technology, any new disruptive, socially changing apparatus made by a corporation or whatever. Like when McDonald's first came out, the invention of fast food, like incredible, mind-blowing. But over time, that industry stabilizes and gets regulated. So at the beginning of these wild swings, speculation, up, down, what's going to work, what's not going to work, who's going to take advantage of this new paradigm, the gig corporate economy or whatever have you. But as it becomes standardized and more the public take advantage of this service, this luxury service that becomes available, competition, it becomes cheaper and cheaper. The average person gets it, and then the average person wants things changed, so who do they talk to? Probably their local political representative, and then that person, that political representative, has to regulate, has to put some regulations, make it safe for kids. Maybe we got to regulate power output so no one gets exactly electrocuted playing with this new thing. Maybe the new car, what's the new thing? Scooters in DC, 2-3 years old. Maybe they go too fast. Maybe too many people are hurting themselves. We got to put limits. Got to put speed governors on these things. So then politics regulates it, and then suddenly that giant swings and growth in the stock market starts to mellow out. And then it's a utility company. It's just a utility company. Just going with the commodities market. Nothing pretty wild. And then there's a new disruptive thing, bioengineering, biohacking. New pharmaceutical company offers 100% effective stem cell treatments using your own stem cells. Suddenly your old arthritis knees work again. Billions of dollars, major speculation, and whatever. And that happens every 25 years. Every generation, there's a new thing. I used to beat myself up because I had an opportunity to invest in Apple in 2005. And I've been beating myself up because had I invested then, I'd be worth like $2 million. $2 million. 20 grand in 2005 is worth $2.5 million in 2020, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm always going to be mad at myself a little bit for not being rich, but the truth of the matter is even if I had invested, I probably wouldn't have kept it for 15 years untouched. If I had, it'd be pretty amazing. But I beat myself up. Oh, I missed my opportunity. My revelation last week with this whole thing about disruptive technologies every generation is this happens every 25 years. So young people, prepare yourself. The number one tip for my investing is look around and see what 21-year-olds are into besides drinking. What are they playing with? What are they using? What are they excited about? When I wanted to buy Apple, when I had that gut feeling, it was because I was looking at an 18-year-old kid going to college in New York City, and he had an Apple laptop that had an Intel processor in it. And I said, that's going to sell. This is a cool kid. He's a cool dude. He looks good. He looks great with that laptop, and it can dual boot Windows and Apple. That looks great. And I should have put, Apple was $38 a share before it split. I wish I bought it. Getting messages, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what y'all saying. I'm playing Control lately, and it's good. I'm talking to my buddy Joel about it. he was playing control or played it. My man Blake's giving me a compliment. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh man, my man Blake's making me feel really good right now. Woo! Ooh, my man Josh is telling me that the weather sucks, and he's debating what to do. Conversation's fun. I like listening to the Joe Rogan show while I work. I'm curious what you guys think. Please comment. If you listen to something while you work, what is that thing you listen to? And we got the silencer, we got the rifle thing, we got the sniper guy taking a pose. This is pretty cool. I'm digging this. Let's come up with something else. Uh-oh. So the video might have cut out. Waiting for live video. Let's see. Let's see what goes on. Hopefully it's still recording. Let's do one more. Let's save this. Let's do, let's go green there. Let's go green here. Let's do one more activity. What's something that a character can do? And we'll come up with a pose first and then figure out an activity that's fun. Would a running pose be good? Would a running be a back shot, like someone running away? Backpack, legs. It's holding some gears, holding some equipment. Be a gun. That foot's just planted. So this is a little bit boring of a run pose. Maybe we can excite it up a little bit. We can let's go a little. What do I want to do? Let's erase 50%. Erase 50% of these legs, and let's redraw them. Oh, Joe says jump. Jump might be a good idea. Let's do so the legs coming back a little bit more. That's a really good idea, Joe, because power armor probably let you jump and land pretty high. If you had some power equipment, you probably want to jump over a wall. That'd be dope. And then the suit could like automatically like catch your fall and stuff. That'd be cool. That's a great idea. Like dudes like jumping off of a building or something. That'd be dope. I like that idea a lot. I like that idea a lot. Let's see. So this is going to be showing how like the equipment kind of works. We're gonna do a couple sketches. Let's do that one there. Let's do another one. Let's go jump. 01. This will be jump 2. Maybe from the bottom angle. Maybe we're seeing a guy shooting. He's got a machine pistol type thing. This feels kind of Spider-Man-y. Is that fun? It seems typical. Like I've seen this before. I'm not really excited about it. A lot of foreshortening, but it's too in. It's too boxed in within itself. Don't like it. Deleting it already. Let's go another one. Jump 2. It'd be interesting to show the action. Like there's one guy about to jump. That'd be cool. One dude's about to do the jump. So you got squatty guy who's getting ready to do the fucking thing. Probably would have to be a button that told the suit extra power. We're not just crouching. We're not just pop on a squat. We're actually going to launch this baby. So what's some kind of if you rocket booster, like do it Mandalorian style, a little rocket jump, that'd be cool. Dude's got his like controllers up, so he's holding the gun up kind of above his head. Does that make sense? Would probably be good inspiration is some kind of Michael Jordan pose, some like Air Jordan. Let's get some Air Jordan reference, and not just the shoes, because I like the Jordan sneakers. I want Michael Jordan dunk. Yeah, look at these incredible pictures. God, look at that. That's pretty dope, man. That's pretty dope. What if we kind of riffed off of this jump a little bit? Sometimes it just works, you know. All right, so this is jump. I don't know what to do with that one. Let's go jump Jordan. Here's a really good illustration I'm thinking about that's from Titanfall, and it shows like a mech robot dude jumping into a bigger robot, and it's really fun. Titanfall, that game's dope. Titanfall was definitely cool stuff. They had a lot of jumping dudes. You got rocket packs in that game. This guy's got a good jump pose. Hey, look at that. That's cool. That's really good. It's pretty good. They got rocket pack butt things that make people wall ride. Real fun game. If you haven't played the single player Titanfall, highly recommend it. Look at this guy. He's cool. He's all robot-y. He's got little hook legs. Blade Runner type. Yeah, Titanfall was good. Big fan. Didn't play the multiplayer much though. I just like the single player campaign. I thought it was cool. Michael Jordan. Well, can we do that kind of pose? Would that be fun? Would that be interesting? All right. Jordan's, what's he doing? He's got this. He's got a leg here. It's coming out towards the sides, coming foreshortened towards us. He's got a real, like we're seeing the full length, almost unforeshortened lower leg with shoe, and then we're seeing like an unforeshortened thigh with a foreshortened far lower leg. So the foreshortening is happening on the thigh coming towards us. It's kind of interesting. We're seeing the unforeshortened, foreshortened, unforeshortened here, foreshortened that. That's interesting. That's pretty interesting. So this arm going back just looks hella dope. And he's got the ball up and his head's just a little bit forward. Like his head is leading the charge. What an incredible pose and photograph to have caught of Jordan's famous dunk. Well, he looks like he took off from the free throw line. I don't even like basketball, but this is impressive. This is super impressive, my man. What's up, Drew? Drew's back online. Yeah. All right, so we got the Jordan jump. That's pretty cool. How do we turn this Jordan jump into like a commando thing? Maybe he's got a bazooka. Would that be fun? Rocket launcher. He's got a pistol there. It's ridiculous, but I kind of like it. I like the idea. It's like the Team Fortress Team Fort Soldier, dude. I love that guy. Let's go see him real quick. What's TF2 the Soldier? This is like one of the funniest. Man, I miss Team Fortress. Team Fortress is so good. The stylization. This guy with a rocket launcher is just wrecking everybody's day. Boom. So he's this like old grizzled sergeant who's been through stuff. There's a scene in this clip when he's like rocket jumping. So he shoots a rocket at his feet and he goes flying around. There's a video where he's rocket jumping. TF2 rocket jump. Rocket jump waltz. What's that? What is rocket jump waltz? Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, this guy right here, look at him. Look at that pose. That's fun. Oh, there's some song. Okay, I'll have to revisit that later. But there's a bunch of like pirouetting ballet rocket jump soldiers in this one video I'm thinking about. Drew says that is a nice dunk. I agree. That Jordan documentary was great. ESPN. Yeah, so we're just gonna rip off the Jordan dunk, and it's gonna be with a guy with maybe a jetpack. That'd be fun. Hell yeah, that's fun. It's a little Mandalorian kind of homage here. It's okay to copy as long as you say it's an homage. I'm half joking. I'm being a little facetious. You got to put your own little flavor on it. As long as you put your own little flavor on it, then it's a-okay. So we got some rocket stuff. Still playing a game called Company Heroes, and what's amazing to me is the most destructive force in that game is not an army of tanks. You would think like 10 tanks would be the most destructive thing ever. No, the most destructive thing ever is like 10 platoons of guys with bazookas. 10 platoons of guys with bazookas will level an entire base in 30 seconds flat. The amount of firepower from infantry is amazing. Pound for pound, I don't know if it costs. You end up paying more in the munitions in that game to get your. How would you even hold this thing? I don't even know. What are we gonna do? Let's launch over it. This is fun. I'm just gonna go with this, man, because I'm having great. This feels like Spaceman. This feels like Neil Armstrong jumping on the moon. I don't know, with a gat. Blup blup blup. Bubble clock. I know that's cultural appropriation. I don't care. Let's go. This is fun. Rocket jump, dude. Just having a good time. So that bazooka should probably come down a little lower on his shoulder. So let's lower this whole apparatus. Let's go lower that down to there. Yeah. So he's got the pistol out in case he comes up with so many ruffians when he lands. But then he's gonna get that bazooka out and take out the enemy boss. That's what's up. Who doesn't love some bazooka action in a video game? In real life, bazooka's terrifying. RPG, absolutely terrifying. IRL. You watch that movie, not American Sniper, the sniper movie with Marky Mark. Drew, what am I thinking of? Lone Survivor. Lone Survivor. That's what I'm thinking about. When they got the RPGs coming in, I read that book. Marcus Luttrell, Navy SEAL. They said the RPGs were ferocious. The machine gun fire was ferocious. To all my veterans out there, much love, much respect. If you have ever had an RPG fired at you, much respect. You would tell the tale. Whew. Wish I could have done that. Wish I could have been a man, gone overseas. No, I just stayed home and played video games. Thank you for your service. All right, this guy's kind of fun. Rocket jump. But it's actually it's actually a little boring if I reflect on it. It's fun to draw because I know it came from the Jordan jump. Just flip horizontal. Is it still cool? I kind of want to turn the leg out just a little bit. I want to take this leg here, just rotate it, just get it a little bit wider. It's pretty fun. You can do that. Boom. He's got a bigger like MP7 type thing, some kind of future um, doohickey because this is the future, ladies and gentlemen, and it's gonna be a HK MP7 kind of business. One-handed, because you can stabilize one-handed when you got an exosuit on. That's right. You do all kinds of cool stuff with exosuit, power armor. I don't know, Mandalorian. Does he have rocket feet too? Probably not rocket feet. Too much apparatus in the legs. A little boost on the backpack though could be dope. Why not? It'd be fun. So something else we can try is we can try swinging those legs around just to see what it looks like. Let's grab this whole leg apparatus. The lasso tool. Spin it. Does that feel cool? It feels kind of dancy. Not bad though. Number one, number two, number one, number two. I actually like two a little better. I like two a little better, as a matter of fact. So we started with the Jordan look, but now we're evolving it to really make it our own. Let's take this gun arm thing and let's spin that back maybe just a little bit. That feels cool. It's pretty fun. What do you think? Got 3 people watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gents. Trying to make something out of this Thursday, the 3rd of September. $3:30 on the 3rd. All right, cool. So what are we at? We got a couple good drawings today. We got a couple good sketches that I can develop into something else later. Number 1 is some guys sitting around the communications campfire. Number 2, we got a little sniper dude in an exosuit. And number 3, we got a rocket jump boy. That's kind of fun. Cool. So these can be developed into some line work later. Thanks for hanging out while we did some brainstorming. Hopefully you saw something that inspired you to draw today. Hopefully you learned a little thing or two about maybe some perspective, some proportion, some foreshortening, and maybe you learned a little bit about some brainstorming, how the Tom mind works, and maybe you can develop how your brain works through some sketching and having some doodle time. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. It's been 52 minutes here, and I think it was 30 minutes on the back end. And I appreciate everybody's watching and commenting. This will be on YouTube later if you prefer to watch it that way. Thanks so much, and have a wonderful day.